on the one hand. But there are also positive insights, and that's also why I mentioned even our women here. I'm not excluding our men businesses. We saw a growth again in women-led businesses, and that really was very inspiring to us. We saw even more growth in young people. They that should be expected because young people make up most of our population. But then, when you get juxtapose this with almost 40 million SMEs according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics and SMEs, and then you juxtapose that with MSMEs contributing almost 50% of GDP, over 3/4 of the labor force, the issue is then the issue around competitiveness, around productivity. So we have quite a lot of businesses. What is that? They are contributing significantly. We are contributing significantly to economic growth, socio-economic development, but our competitiveness is challenged. Our productivity is significantly challenged. In fact, 2 years ago, we did a report with SME that was the first ever competitiveness survey, MSME competitiveness survey. Most countries do it, and so SME at the time decided to then rank how we were competitive in Nigeria and then compare to other economies. And our overall competitiveness score was 47 out of 100. Again, significantly lagging in that. And what were the key issues? Systemic barriers. So the issue wasn't entrepreneurial creativity, it wasn't innovation, it wasn't the ability to be able to start businesses. One of the growing big, staying in business, regardless of how it is. The infrastructure and finance gaps. As at that time, 78% of all our respondents blamed unreliable power. That's 3 years ago. So you can imagine what it probably is now. Transport costs were a significant impact of their cost. This was 63%, and this was just before the removal of subsidy. And then when we then look at financing, 73% depended on personal savings at the time. Market access was also a problem because most of the MSMEs we survey, because in competitiveness survey, you're also looking at not just the ability of the businesses to serve the local market, but their regional and global market. And Nigerians, because of the size of our economy and the potential of our economy, we are influencing and we can influence regional and global economies. So most at the time were very unaware of AFCFTA, and for those that were aware, they didn't understand whatever the opportunities or they didn't see any opportunities that were there. So with that context in mind, I'm going back to the main theme around sustainability. I wanted to outline, when we're thinking of sustainability, what are some of the 5 areas of sustainability for business survival that's important. So the first one, which I sort of emphasize quite a lot, is around operational sustainability. So businesses that cannot withstand economic shocks, you are spending so much on power, on diesel, on transport costs, on security, depending on the kind of businesses you do, and how to get your input supply for your product. Those will be very draining, and you definitely will not allow for optimal business operations. But on the other side, we also know that businesses that implement efficiency measures, they grow 22% faster because they are able to combat waste in so many ways. Over the last 2 years, we've been speaking with one of our partners around, now the new thing around when people come about sustainability around green business, social and green business, renewable energy, upcycling, recycling, the circular economy as a whole. And one of the things that we had to tell some of our international partners is that a lot of Nigerians were already doing sustainability into their businesses. They just didn't use the fancy terms that you use now. My dad, I have a much older dad, he's in his 90s. He started into farming about 3+ decades ago. And we did a lot of fish farming work, a lot of poultry work. And I can tell you even then, in the 90s, early 2000s, when things were really challenging and feed was very, very expensive, he always looked for alternative ways to be able to produce feed when he couldn't buy the commercial feed items. And so even we have to also tell a lot of our partners that in environments that are challenged, that small businesses are usually sort of the first people to think of alternative ways to to do that. I'm on the board of a livestock business. And when the Ukraine war issue started, and grains became very challenging to source, not even to talk about the cost. You know, we started talking about food waste and so many of the other things. And by the time we then started
No carry monitor. Yes.
I'm not carrying monitor, I'm carrying some card.
This one go they talk now.
I'm not carrying some card.
How you take do audio?
I carry audio for camera. Wisdom one kill me. Wisdom don't want kill me. See, I don't know the issue. I first say, what the audio? I have to pick audio from the camera. Please. I see the sound.
Now visual will be key.
Yes,
Visual.
just give me. I see the video.
I beg, loud this your thing. I know the hear you.
One of the things we always say in the market classes today is that when you're thinking of expanding your market, you have to think of people who are interested in your product and service, but who are also able to pay for your product and service. So there's that market sustainability. But there's also strategic sustainability, where whatever happens.
I'm coming outside. Carry this thing around that place where they go down and stay. But don't lost salary.
Oh, so you won't tell me since I mean just do this one here.
No be this one you will do now. From here you will do. This one no dey work now. What did this one help you do?
Oh,
Do this thing for here, you will stay.
Now this tip me I even the fine as I will take.
They will not lose less.
Me.
So on here, for sure. This one will not
Only
lose.
na.
A coffee bound. No. Never do it. Do it. I mean, okay. Today you will die. Okay. Bringing this place. I just know. I see what happened.
So on the supply side, commercial banks probably allocate less than 1% of their over 20 trillion private sector credit to small businesses. We're not ready. And so a lot of banks, and that's just what the reality is. They prefer no risk companies. Their own no risk. And then on the other hand, the government has also put in place some incentives and structures to also enable